Welcome back to another episode of the North Star Takes podcast. I'm Bailey Paulicki. He's Jacob Liberta, and we're a Minnesota sports podcast. Please click the like button on this video and subscribe to the channel, especially if you're a Minnesota Vikings fan, because the season is just about to get rolling here. We're through 2 preseason games, only one more that we have to suffer through because the Vikings won't play any of their starters. So let's just jump right into it, Liberta. The Vikings, obviously, very ugly preseason game against the 49ers. Kellen Mond got the start, but they still insisted on alternating snaps with Sean Mannion. Mannion actually did outplay Mond this time, but pretty horrific effort all around from the entire offense basically. And then defensively, I don't know if there's any real standouts besides T.Y. McGill, who's kind of been impressive in preseason so far. So I know you didn't get a chance to watch the game, and neither did I. But is there anything that really stuck out from what you saw? People reporting, or any highlights you saw, or anything like that?
Yeah, I'd say on the positive side, like you mentioned, T.Y. McGill. I think this guy's been a monster these first 2 preseason games. I had no idea who he was before we went to that night practice there a couple weeks back. So good for him, making a name for himself, making a great case to make the team, or at least a team in the NFL, whether it's ours or somebody else's. So, good for him for really making good use of this opportunity he's got in these preseason games to make a name for himself, unlike basically everybody else. Because, like you said, got starts with the quarterbacks on offense. They were very bad. I know, like you said, Mannion is better than Mon this week, and I agree with that. It's different than that first game against the Raiders, where it was the opposite. But still, it's like proven now that these two guys can't be our QB2. Mannion, we already knew that. Mon, a little bit unsure about, but this feels like it puts a little more certainty in everybody's minds as far as what they need to do. And they make quick work of that we're going to get to here. But I would say, yeah, overall, this preseason has just been, or really this game, I guess the last game wasn't quite so bad, but this one especially, like the offense just didn't do a whole lot. I realized basically none of our starters were playing besides Ed Ingram, and he was the one probably who looked the best, which is obviously encouraging. But everybody else, it just left a lot to be desired. And I think the Vikings now, for what it's worth, haven't won a preseason game since 2019 because they didn't have a preseason in 2020. Last year, they lost all of them because, if everybody remembers, they didn't score an offensive touchdown until Game 3. And this feels like shades of that this year, a little bit better, but not much. So, yeah, not a lot to be given praise out for. But I will say that the practices this week looked better than this game ended up, it seemed like. So,
yeah,
I think that's probably better anyways, because that's when your actual players that are going to be playing, assuming they're healthy, that's when they're actually playing against the other team's ones. So that's probably what you want most, but still you'd like it to look a little bit better from your depth players.
Yeah, it's disappointing that Kellen Mond really hasn't shown that he can take that next step yet.
I know, because I really wanted him to.
Yeah, me too. It's a 3rd-round pick. It's a guy you invested in, albeit it was the previous regime, and this regime owes him nothing. But other players that just you're not getting much out of, like, your depth of offensive line players. I mean, I don't think Jesse Davis even played. I don't think Chris Reed played either. But those guys haven't really shown that they're great depth pieces. Austin Schlottman's been okay as a backup center. You mentioned Ed Ingram. I mean, I've been super impressed with him. He's been kind of the lone bright spot through both preseason games, other than T.Y. McGill. T.Y. McGill, I mean, he's an 8-year vet. I don't know if he's had a good preseason, but at the same time, it's like he's a vet. He kind of knows how to, maybe take advantage of some of these backup younger players he's playing against. So, it could be a little bit of a facade. Like, once he's in there playing against real, starting NFL players, is he really going to do anything? I don't know. That kind of remains to be seen.
Team?
I think he's on the fringe right now. I don't know. I would hate to keep a guy like that over a Jalen Twyman or like a Sezi Otonomo from the Gophers. He was a 5th-round pick, which I don't even know if he'll make the team. But, certain guys that are younger and have potential, Jalen Twyman specifically. But, I'm trying to think other guys. Like Patrick Jones has had a pretty decent preseason, as a backup edge rusher. I saw Andrew Booth rolled his ankle. It sounds like he'll be okay. It's more of a day-to-day injury rather than long-term. So
it's good.
Which
that kind of worries me a little bit, though, even though, like you said, it's good. It's not long-term, but he definitely had an injury history in college at Clemson. So, I hope that doesn't carry on for too much longer here.
Right, and I think we're really going to need him too. Another guy actually that I saw was pretty decent was a Caleb Evans. I saw he
Mhm.
led the team in tackles in that game. So,
Oh,
um, yeah, pretty impressive showing from him. So it's good if he can tackle, and then from what I've seen, his coverage isn't horrific either. So obviously he's not going to be a starter, but there might be moments this year where he does have to play. So
mhm.
a couple depth pieces showing a little promise, but for the most part, it hasn't been anything too crazy. I know, like Lewis Seen hasn't really flashed much through the first two preseason games. I'm hoping, maybe in this last preseason game or at the start of the regular season when he gets in there, he's able to make some good plays because I'm pretty excited about this guy.
Yeah, and I think that might be a byproduct too. Is that it's hard to flash as a safety to begin with. I think because I mean, as the name of the position goes, the safety, where you like basically last line of defense in most regards, but then also
Yes.
just kind of there to I don't know, support other roles. So it's like on the one hand, when you're playing a really vanilla defense in preseason, like there's probably not a whole lot of opportunities to really flash or really make those highlight plays. So I think that's probably more of a thing that could happen in the regular season where you're starting to get tricky with your schemes, obviously, and really getting into what you want to do. So I would say then you probably look for him more. But for now, yeah, it's like you said, not a whole lot to see so far, but I think there's obviously more to come. And it's encouraging we haven't heard anything bad though, because I've
Hmm.
heard other things about like Kyle Hamilton out in Baltimore, who is a player we both wanted at the
Yes.
like come draft time last April. So at 12 overall. So I mean, it's early reports are that some people, especially the PFF folks,
Hmm.
are starting to lose some confidence in Kyle Hamilton, where haven't seen too much about the scene. So like I guess that's a good thing for what that's worth.
Yeah, absolutely. Kyle Hamilton. Yeah, that's great. I mean, some of our draft takes have shown to be pretty cold takes from, way back what what we wanted in April. I mean, it maybe kind of shows these guys do know what they're doing. I mean, we can talk all we want, and all these people can talk all they want, but
Yeah.
we all right, Roberta. We kind of buried the lead here, but the Vikings did actually trade for a quarterback, Nick Mullins from the Las Vegas Raiders, and he's probably going to be the QB too because of how horrific these quarterbacks were in this previous preseason game. So, I guess you don't have to give me a complete breakdown, but just your general thoughts on having Nick Mullins be the backup to Kirk Cousins.
I think Nick Mullins is like he epitomizes what a backup quarterback in the NFL is, really.
Yeah.
I think this guy has made 17 starts in his NFL career, and he's looked very adequate in doing so, especially out in San Francisco when he replaced, I think it was Jimmy G went down, he's constantly down in his career, and then CJ Beathard just didn't look great. So then Kyle Shanahan wrote Mullins, and Mullins looked like a gunslinger. I mean, he went to Southern Miss just like Favre did and everything, but
Yes.
there's the connection there that Vikings fans, I'm sure, will love. But just that he looked like he could run an offense and he could make all the throws he's supposed to. I don't think he's going to look great making anything flashy or really making plays outside the box or like beyond expectation, I guess I should say. So I don't think we can put a ceiling too high on him because I
Hmm.
mean he's a backup quarterback, but like I think he's good enough where he wouldn't sink you if you had to play him for a couple games or something. Like I think he could still win you a game. So I think that's what you want out of your backup quarterback, and I think this guy's perfect, and um, I think he's one of the better backup quarterbacks in the league too. I
Yeah.
might add. So I especially for a conditional seventh round pick, not even this year or in 2 years, the conditional seventh
Yeah.
round pick for 2024. Like, I don't care about that. So, because I was hesitant about trading for a quarterback now, I'd rather just wait for one and sign one. But, like, for a conditional seventh round pick 2 years from now, like, whatever, have at it. Like, that's fine.
Yeah, we're not in the Rick Spielman era. We can give away a seventh round pick every now and then. I
Yeah.
couldn't have said it better myself, though. I do think he's in the top half of backup quarterbacks in the NFL. And yeah, he kind of gives you a little bit of peace of mind. At least you're not throwing Sean Mannion out there like we saw against the Packers last year in a must win game, and you just have no chance. So it's like at least there's that peace of mind there. And like you said, it's better to go get him now rather than for him to get cut potentially and then you lose out on him. So if you're only giving up a seventh round pick in 2024, that is not going to matter. Um, I'm all in on that. And that probably means I would imagine, at least I hope this is how it plays out, that Sean Mannion's just gone when it comes down to final cuts.
Fingers
And
crossed.
yes, and then Kellen Mond will be your QB3. I don't know if they maybe would try to sneak him onto the practice squad. I'd imagine if they did that, someone would probably claim him. But Mon's just going to basically have another redshirt year where he's just going to basically be inactive and, sitting on the sidelines learning. At least he'll have a coach that cares about him and a
Sure.
good quarterback room now that you actually have a good backup quarterback in there as well. But, yeah, it kind of seems like next year is definitely make it or break it for Mon because unless he's surprisingly cut this year, which is certainly a possibility too. But, yeah, I think there's no doubt in my mind that Mon's now QB3 and Mannion's out the door.
Yeah, well, let's hope. I'm done with Mannion. I can't watch any more of his gameplay. Like, if we want to, as you suggested to me off camera, I mean, you said that he, like, if you really want him, throw him in the practice squad because, like, nobody's going to claim that guy. So I
Yeah.
don't think he should be getting dressed on Sundays. So I'm good with that. Otherwise, in any other capacity, I'm done with him. I don't want to. I don't want to see him on this team anymore. I can't take it.
If he's that much of a necessity to be around for Kirk, practice squad him, or if he doesn't get picked up by anybody, maybe talk him into being some sort of a coach. Like, I don't know, just like he can't be taking up a roster spot if he physically cannot play the game of football. So,
Oh yeah, we just got to talking about if we should be cutting guys like it, like a T.Y. McGill who's kind of flashed and shown something in like the preseason. Like, are we going to
yes,
keep Mannion in favor of that guy? Like, come on.
right. Yeah, it makes no sense. So, any other final thoughts from you before we take off here on the Vikings in general as they're wrapping up the preseason here?
Yeah, I guess I would say I'm glad that we made this move for Nick Mullins. I think this gives everybody some peace of mind, and I think we can relax a little bit about who's QB2 going to be. I think now we can kind of ease into this third preseason game. Probably see a little bit of Mullins. I don't know in what capacity, seeing as though like he only have been here for like 5 days by
Yeah.
the time that game rolls around. So like that's obviously a limited time range, but still, it's a preseason, so hopefully we're not running anything too complex that he can just jump right into and run at least for a little while. So I'm curious to see what that looks like. But other than that, yeah, looking forward to wrapping up the preseason because obviously the real games are right around the corner then. So that's exciting.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be September here within a week and a half, and then all of a sudden it's going to be the first week of the NFL season, so it's fast approaching. And week one is Green Bay, man. I just get there healthy, and then whatever happens from there, I guess happens. But
Yeah, talk about starting a coaching tenure for O'Connell.
no kidding, that'd be a massive win to pick up as his first win as head coach. So
Yes.
that will do it for this edition of the North Star Takes podcast. Like I mentioned earlier, please click the like button on this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And feel free to reach out and tell your friends about us as well if you have Minnesota sports fans, friends. And leave a comment in the comment section below. Let us know your thoughts on, uh, Vikings preseason, trading for Nick Mullins, any other potential position battles that are intriguing to you as the preseason wraps up here. So any other thoughts from you guys? Anything you'd like to see us talk about next time? Be sure to let us know. So until next time, thanks for watching.